Hey y'all. So today in my intro class, my students started learning how to part hair and section. I always like to start off teaching my students how to drape, of course. That's what we start with. And then we start off with 4-part sections. That's the first type of sectioning that we do. And so we practice parting. And I just wanted to come on and share a quick demonstration of an easy way to teach your students to part hair, because sometimes the students actually struggle with parting hair. And you may, just because you're the professional and you know how to part hair, you may find it difficult to actually teach them how to part hair, because it's like, just part the hair, just do it. But you can teach them to part hair in a simple way that is helpful for them and helps them to learn it easily. So what I like to do to teach parting and sectioning the hair is I always start on, like I said, with the 4-part section. On a mannequin, I have them to comb the hair straight back. And so I kind of did that here. And what I like to show them is to use their finger and connect the dots. So like we used to do back in the day when you would connect the lines to the dots. It's kind of the method that I use to teach them to part. And so we're starting with the profile parting, or creating that profile section. I tell them to place their finger of their non-dominant hand in the center of the area where they want the part to end. So if I turn it around so I can show you a little better, I would tell them to place their finger here. And then I tell them, of course, because we're using the reference points, I tell them to use the nose to help them to create a straight line, to help them make sure that they're starting in the center. So I'm going to place my finger where I want the part to go. I'm going to actually use the teeth of my comb. I'm using a rat tail. A lot of people like to part with the rat tail, but I think you get a cleaner parting when you actually use the teeth of the comb. And so I would just start in the center using the nose as a guide and use my teeth, and I do one stroke all the way back until I meet my finger. And then I separate that. A lot of times you'll get a perfect part. But I tell them this, even if you don't, now that you place that part in there, you can go back and adjust as needed. So I think my part looks pretty good. I'm gonna turn it around and show you. So it looks pretty good, pretty straight. It could be a little cleaner, but for the purpose of the video, I think y'all understand. And one more time, just to make sure that we have full understanding, have your students to place their finger where they want the part to go or to end, and then to start where they, using a reference point, where they wanted to start. So I started at the apex and worked my way down, and just separate that part just like that. And then it's pretty straight. That's what you would do. And then of course, if I needed to go in and adjust anything, I could do so at this time. But that is just an easy way to teach them to part, is by teaching them to follow the dots and use their finger as a dot to connect the dots. So that's one way that I teach them when we begin parting and sectioning, to part the hair. Of course, as they get more advanced, they no longer have to use the finger. Or they may start having to do different types of parts when they're doing hairstyling and they're doing braiding and things that are more complex. Then parting gets a little different. But for basic parting, this is a perfect way to teach your students how to section and part the hair in a quick way that's not taking all day, because you know the kids like to start off and they're doing section by section, a little bit at a time, and we don't want them to take a long time for parting and sectioning the hair. So I hope this was helpful. Y'all have an amazing day.